that bond is broken. When that bond has been broken, these two electrons, they'll move this side, on the side, like that. Now, when they move like that, what they do, they attract another molecule of the same kind. So they will attract another one of the same kind. Attract another one of the same kind. If that one happens to another one, they attract another one of the same kind. Like that. Like that. Like that. So it is a continuous process. Like that. And that is why they have a longer lifespan. So the number of carbon atoms increases as this one also increases, actually. So that is what happens. The polymerization process. So these plastics, I said, when they are subjected to temperatures, they produce chemicals. Now, these chemicals sometimes will find their way underground, into maybe underground water, and maybe later they will enter the oceans. They can be washed by the rain and then they enter the oceans. And this is how they enter the food chain. This is how it enters the food chain. You throw a plastic bottle on the road, it gets heated by the sun, and then it produces chemicals. These chemicals enters the underground water or can simply be washed into the oceans directly. In the oceans, we have aquatic life. We have the aquatic life in the ocean. For example, the fish having, plastics. They shall have swallowed plastics, 99%. So I always tell people, or I always say that we can stop this if we change our attitude. Whenever you buy a plastic item that you know you'll not require maybe to use after some time, please dispose it rightfully, because it will also come back to affect your life. It will also come back to affect the life of your child. It will also come back to affect the life of your family at one point. So dispose it the way it is supposed to be disposed. Maybe you go to the beach, you carry your food, your packed lunch or your packed whatever in a plastic container. After consuming whatever you have, please carry it home. Do not leave it by the ocean. Sure, carry it home so that you'll also help yourself, because if it finds its way into the ocean, it will actually enter the food chain and it will come back to you. So this is what happened. Now I always say that right now there is one technology of reducing CO2 or pulling out CO2 from the atmosphere. One technology of pulling out CO2 from the atmosphere right now is called a tree. If you scale it up, it is called forest. So if we can work out on this, then we are going to reduce the level of this. By 2050, the temperatures of the earth actually is also going to increase by around another 2 degrees, which is going to be very hot and very warm. And we might start actually suffering from what is called heat stress. So this is serious. And at some point, actually, there are lots of, this. There are actually countries who are suffering from this right now because it is getting warmer and warmer and warmer. And remember, I did mention at the beginning that at the polar regions, they are made actually of ice, and we know that when temperature increases, this ice actually gets melted. When they get melted, what happens? They become water. They become water, they find their way into oceans and seas. After that, what happens? There is increase in sea levels. In sea levels. That happens. What happens when the sea levels increases? Small islands are going to suffer. They're going to sink. You know, people living around the source of the seas and everything, they are going to suffer from floods. And this is why most lowland areas are suffering right now. It was just some few time back when the level of waters of Lake Victoria was so high, and I attribute it to this. As far as I'm concerned, I attribute it to this. So these are things that people take for granted, but at one point it's going to affect our lives. Actually, it is affecting our lives right now. Look at the locust invasion. Look at, the corona thing. I relate corona, the COVID-19 issue, to climate change. There are some viruses actually that are carried by animals. The wild ones, for that matter. Now, if we encourage where they're supposed to live, maybe forests and whatever, and we cut down the trees, they will have no homes. They will start coming to, entangle around with us, carrying those viruses. And those viruses and the bacteria they carry, some of them are zoonotic in nature. The animals are, and human beings. So, whatever we do comes back to affect us. And I will appeal to each and every one of us, wherever you are, please do what is right. Do what is right. If you have a tree, plant it. I said a single mature tree absorbs close to around 48 pounds of CO2 annually. So we can imagine what a forest will do. So sometimes, in my mind, I do think that the only way we can reduce climate change, remember, we cannot stop climate change. The only thing we can do is to adopt, what is called adoption and mitigation of climate change impacts. We cannot stop it, but we can reduce, the rate at which it is happening. According to research, the rate at which the ice at the polar regions, the Arctic and the Antarctic, are melting, the rate is so high and it is constant. So we can reduce all this if we act right, if we do what is required of us. Even the ways that we use, we'll discuss it sometime later, how it contributes to climate change. The ways that are all over the landfills and everything, we'll discuss later. So I want to come to a close up to this point, and I want to thank each and every one of us for listening to me and having taken your time to listen to me, especially on the Facebook. I know that you do support me by liking my blogs, sharing, and whatever. I thank each and every one of you, and I'm very humbled for that. And I will want to bring to your attention that we have registered now, and that is why I have created now a page, a Facebook page, not the group again, the Facebook page for the organization. It is called Towards Green Environment. Towards Green Environment. What I do mainly, I create awareness, and we plant trees, a lot of it. Sometimes I donate trees to people who can plant it, and we train them on how to nurture it to maturity so that it will actually survive, and the importance of allowing it to survive until maturity. Yes, so we create awareness and we plant trees majorly, because as I had mentioned, that is the only technology right now pulling down CO2 from the atmosphere, which has been a menace to human life and the lives of other creatures on the surface of Earth. So this is what we can do. So we have a Facebook page called Towards Green Environment. Please do like, our page, and I would really appreciate it. Go there, like our page, and we will keep on doing this. You can support us by sharing our blogs, and then we'll keep on doing this. I want to thank you so much for taking your time. Auntie Sophie, thank you. Thank you so much, and thank you for supporting this initiative. And I would love to really thank you personally. We'll be doing this most of the time. I'll always be, letting us know in advance if you have what to do, and then I will always put the topics that you're supposed to discuss there. So you can always actually do your own research on the same topics so that we can do. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect on this. We are learning, each and every one of us, and we are learning each day. So I would like to thank you so much, and thank you so much. Please stay safe. COVID-19 is real and it kills. Thank you so much, and God bless you.